Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Writer's Mind podcast. Today we are going to be talking about life and mindset. Just for disclaimer purposes, I am not a licensed therapist or coach. I just speak from experiences. I look at life in three ways a lot of time, and that is what we live in, what we have, what we breathe. Life, there's good, bad, up and down. And none of us, no matter who we are, whether the richest, whether the poorest, whether the highest, whether the lowest, whether degrees, whether drops out, whether diplomas, we all gonna experience good, bad, high, lows, right? That's the way life goes. Each and every day, we have choices to make. We have places to go, and we got a whole world to share with many of people. Life isn't fair. Life sometimes brings you things that you don't expect or ask for. Sometimes our very own actions and behaviors bring trouble into our life. Sometimes by us being in the wrong places bring trouble to our life. And sometimes the people around us bring trouble to us. We have to live our best life. We have to get up every morning being grateful. First and foremost, just because God had gave us another chance. We was able to wake up down here on this side, and make things better and do the next best thing and to just live our life. The choices we make not only affect us, they affect our family and our friends. We all gonna have to go through those moments that we're not proud of, that make us hurt, that bring us pain. And in those times, for those of us who have a relationship with God, we can pray to Him and we can trust that He's going to help us do it. We can call on family and friends and they'll be there to help us. None of us is exempt from the trouble of life. We all will have to experience something here and there. We all will have to go through. We all will have our highs and lows. There will be some things that come into our lives that we can quickly get over. And there will be those things that come into our lives that we have to endure for a while. But I guarantee you, with God on your side, you can get through it all. And if you don't have God, I suggest you get a relationship with Him. And if you think He's not able to do anything, then I guess you'll have to try to do it on your own. I remember my teenage years, we didn't have lights. I didn't even know much about God at that time. Yes, I have heard that there is a God, but I didn't know the true benefit of Him. I didn't know all the greatness of Him. I wasn't at the point where I had grabbed hold on to Him for myself and accepted Him into my life. Remember, my mama walking to the store to get this big jug of kerosene, and then that was our way of warming the water that we had to use to take our bath. We didn't have much, but we made it work for us. I remember we stayed in this house that was so raggedy that when you go in the bathroom, you can see the ground around the bathtub. When you sit down in the bathtub, you might as well have been sitting on the outside ground. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. I always told myself that when I grow up, I'm going to get me a nice job and I'm going to have a big house. I'm going to have something nice. I'm going to have something better than this. I'm going to make sure my lights stay on. At the time, I would say I ain't going to have kids because I ain't going to never put them through it. But Lord and behold, I got two. I'm being silly. But yes, life happens. Life happens. Finally got this job at a place. And y'all, this gonna sound mean, but I used to steal their clothing and bring home. Believe it or not, that's how I learned to be organized. I would get the clothes, bring them home. We didn't have but one dresser, and me and my siblings all had to share it. So there wasn't room for the clothes that I had. So there was this iron pole that I put up in this empty room, like in the back of the house. And then I would hang those clothes and I would organize them by color and by the seasons. And I learned to be a great organizer that way. Because to me, I don't know who I first saw, but to me, a blazer jacket and a dress shirt was the look that I liked back there. And up to this day, that is the look I like. To me, that just classy to me. That just, I don't know. I just like that look. That look catches my eye each and every time. And so I learned to be a mom at a very young age. I took care of my very first nephew for the first 5 years of his life. Someone asked me one day, what happened to that son you used to have? I started laughing because I said that was my nephew. My siblings, I used to make sure they had something to eat. I would help them with their homework. When the street lights came on, I went and got them and made sure they was in the house, made sure the water was in the pot on the heater warming up so that all of us could take a bath. I was in mama mode because you know what? I was determined to do the best I could for them. Just determined to make sure that they were loved, to make sure that they were taken care of. Yeah, my mom was there, but I just took on that role. I just felt the urge to. I can't explain it, but I just did. And I remember one day we was laying there sleeping and there was this big boom. And we all jumped up and the ceiling had fell in. And we had 2 bunk beds. My brother and sister was in one of the bunk beds sleep. And when that ceiling fell down, it fell on top of them. But it was so white and it looked like dust. And you know what? And it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. We got some cardboard box to put up there, some trash bag, and some thick gray tape to patch that back up. That was the best we could do at that time. And I was like, you know what? My life is going to be better than this when I get older. I'm not going to live a life like this. I'm going to have better. And so I always hold to trying to make my life better than the one I had when I was a teenager or when I was younger. To make my homes be clean and presentable. And to make sure that I fight through life, you know, in the sense of I stand strong, I stand flat-footed. I believe in what I believe in. I move forward. I do what I can. I do my best. Because the life back then is not going to be the life that I'm going to have now. And you know, when I be getting on to my kids about cleaning or something, they be like, Mom, you're doing too much. No, I'm not. Because I made this vow to myself back then that I wasn't gonna be like that. I wasn't gonna live like that. I was gonna be better. I was gonna have more. I was gonna take care of what I had. And my mindset is positive most of the time. And yes, I have my negative moments and I have my doubting moments. But guess what? You best to believe when those moments come, I either say an affirmation to myself, I look at myself in the mirror and say something positive. I got scriptures now that I say to myself. You know, I may hum a song, I may go into prayer, but I do something to combat those negative thoughts, those doubtful thoughts. Because you know what? I am determined not to let them pull me down. I am determined not to fall in their trap. And it's important. It's important to have a positive mindset because you know what? It makes you feel like you can, like you're able, like you're capable, like you can get it accomplished, like you are enough, like you are worthy to be there. You are worthy to have it. And that positive mindset, it helps with your choices. It helps with your decision. It helps with the way you view yourself, you view others, and you view the world. It gives you motivation to just run on, just to keep moving forward, no matter what life throw at you, no matter what it looking like. You know that you got to go on. You have to do your best. And you know what? Because of the past situation, you know that if you got through them, surely you can get through these. And now that you know God and you know how good he is, you know how great he is, you know how wonderful he is, you know that you're going to be all right. Nothing or no one can take that away from you. Because you know what? You done experienced that back then. You done experienced God and you got him right now. You can't give up because you got to help. And you may not be able to do everything. The man up above, he can make the impossible possible. He can give you the strength, the courage, whatever it is you need to do whatever it is that you can do. You know, I carry myself in exactly that way. I walk around with my head up. I walk around with confidence. I walk around believing that I am who I know I am and who God say I am. You know what? I am not a person that need validation from nobody. And sometimes now my confidence in certain things get a little rocky. And the idea first came to mind about me doing this podcast in April. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to talk that long to hold a decent conversation. What if I mess up? What if I get stuck? What if I start over my words? What if I don't be good enough to people? Silly me, huh? I let those negative thoughts win. And sometimes they do. But guess what? They're not winning now. I have gained that courage. It took a minute, but I gained that courage because you know what? This podcast thing would not let me shake it loose. In faith, I started my podcast. In faith, I'm sitting here right now recording this in hope that it will help someone else. Someone else will hear these experiences that I speak about on this podcast, that the other people that I'm going to bring aboard speak about, and it will help them to be motivated to run on a little longer, to do a little better, to try a little harder, to not give up. Because it's my purpose to inspire and to motivate someone else. You know, when you have that negative mindset, you're always whining and complaining. You know, nothing is good enough for you. You know, someone can say something, you automatically say something negative back. You know, you can get up, the positive thought can come in your mind, you're going to think something negative. You just don't see no good in nothing when you got a negative mindset. You know, nothing works for you. Nothing is good for you. I mean, you find excuse for every single thing. I encourage you to see the positive even in the bad. Every situation you go through, find something good about it and think on that. For every mistake you make, you learn from it and you keep moving forward. For every time you fall, you get back up and you try harder. For every time you stop, you start again. And it don't matter if you have to start 100 times over. You do it. You just keep starting. When you feel stuck, ask for help. You can always turn to a motivational video. You can always find something positive and motivating on YouTube or social media. As a matter of fact, I'm on there. I'm on social media, so find me. I got something encouraging and positive for you. There is always hope. There is always help. And that's how you got to believe it. I got a quote that I always say to myself, and I made it up, and it may not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me, and I'm going to share it with you. It say, my every day begins with hope. And if my hope isn't met on this day, my every tomorrow will begin with hope. Yes. So when I'm hoping for something, when I'm expecting something to happen on my today, and if it doesn't, then when I wake up tomorrow, guess what I'm hoping and expecting? That thing. I have to hope and expect every tomorrow. Guess what I'm going to do? Hope and expect every tomorrow. Yes, I got to have faith. I can't let it go. In the past, I've found myself thinking positive, having hope, trusting for a thing. And if a problem occurs with people or with that thing, if words are spoken against that by certain people, I may feel down or I may have doubt. And then one day I told myself, why are you letting them, or why are you letting the situation cause you to feel that way? They're not God. It's not God. God got the last say so. If you're going to believe in God, you got to believe in God. If you're going to keep having hope, and if you're going to have hope and you're going to expect things, then no matter what the situation is, no matter what the talks are saying, you're going to have to stand firmly on knowing, on expecting, on believing in your faith that it will come to pass. And you know what? God's time is not our time. God's way is not our way. Things may not happen when we want, but I guarantee you they'll happen right on time. And when you feel like God is telling you no, He's not. Sometimes he tells you yeah right away. Sometimes he tells you to wait for a while, and sometimes he tells you got something better for you. That's not it. And so, you know what? I've learned that when I pray and ask God for something, at the end of my prayer, I always say, God, your will be done. Because if what I'm praying for and what I'm asking don't align up with what you want or how you want, I take your will over my prayer any day. I take your way over my way. Because I will tell you this, when you praying and asking God for something, whoo, patient is what you will learn, because God ain't going to come when you want him to come. God ain't going to come just because you crying. God ain't going to come just because you behind on something. God ain't going to come just because you ask. There's a time. There's a at the right time for God to answer, for God to come, for God to move. I've learned that. Because, you know, it's like when you ask for something, you got to go through something to prepare yourself for what you asking. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like to ask, because they don't want to go through. They just want to get what they ask for. And that's not how God works. At least that's not how I found that God works in my life. And so, you know what? But I'm determined to keep living life, to keep moving through life, to get back up after my fall, to learn from my lesson, to take risks. I'm learning to take risks. I am kind of like the safe person. I kind of like don't do things because I think it won't be safe, or I think that it may cause this kind of hurt, so I stay away from it. But I'm learning to take risks. I stepped out on faith lately more than I ever have in my life. I think 2021, I really started walking in faith a little bit more. Start being a little more daring, a little more risky. And I like it. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it causes me anxiety sometimes. Guess what? I pray to God and I keep moving. Because you know what? I've learned that anything great that's coming or worth having, it's going to be bigger than me. It's going to be bigger than what I think I can do or what I think I can have. And so, you know, that they're going to scare me. But that let me know that, you know what? It's from God. Because I am one to also believe that God put desires in our heart. When we choose to go after something, it's because God had put them desires in us, and we don't give up and we don't give in. And that's like me. Yeah, I may delay some stuff here and there, but I'm going to run on. When things pop in my mind and they kind of scare me, that those are the desire that God is giving me. Those are the things that God are calling me to. And those are the things that I need to move on. In spite of my fear. And don't think that you won't get scared in life, because yes, you will. And it don't mean that the devil got you, no. It just means that you're coming out of your comfort zone. You're coming from that safe spot and you're walking into the unknown. And the unknown can scare all of us sometime, right? And to me, it means that God is calling me higher. And you know what? I have accepted God calling. I have accepted to walk in purpose. I have accepted to serve my gift. I have accepted to keep my mind positive. I have accepted to cut down those negative thoughts and all that doubt. I have accepted to take risks sometimes. And I have accepted that when I'm scared, to still move forward, to still do my work. Because guess what? Everything that I need to get through that scare, because scare is like mountains that are placed in front of you, and God will give you a way to get over it, to go through it, or to go around it. Don't let fear stop you. You work through that fear and you will see that, guess what? God will give you the strength, the courage, or whatever it is that you need to get past or through that fear. God is a good God. He's on time. He know what he's doing. You know, he take us through the processes and we don't like them. We don't feel good in them. Sometimes we want to give up. Sometimes we get frustrated. Sometimes we do stop, but then, you know, we start again. And it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. God understand. He got a way of getting us to where he want to get us to. And we just got to accept it all And we just got to go through it all, because I guarantee you that on the other side of all this that we're going through, all the trouble, all the frustration, all the doubt, maybe the crying, there is something greater. There is something better. There's a blessing that is exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask, think, or imagine. And I just want to leave you all with this. We are always improving, never perfect. Have a great one, everyone.